It's bad. Anime.
Okay, ready? Ready, girlies?
I'm ready, Captain.
Ho! Hey, I'm John.
And I'm so fucking happy we're talking about this show. Rob, whatever. We're talking about FUUTO. I've been waiting so goddamn long for this. I wanted to talk about Kamen Rider on this podcast in some form or fashion for the entirety of this. We're probably almost at episode 40-ish by this point.
I don't know. I don't even care anymore.
Well, that's not good. But anyway, we're finally fucking talking about FUUTO. I mentioned it on a couple episodes now.
Yes.
We did for the summer season. We did we watched a trailer and gabbed about it during Love After World Domination.
Mm-hmm.
It was wildly appropriate, so I brought it up. Today we're finally here.
Yes.
FUUTO. This is the 2022 sequel to the 2009 Kamen Rider series, Kamen Rider W. Why?
Why? I don't know. And to be honest, if I didn't know anything about Kamen Rider, I would be so fucking confused about this show. But even I do know a little bit about Kamen Rider, but I was still confused, but like not. I was confused, but happy to be confused, I guess, is more what I mean. But I mean, okay. Let's start here. First,
I love both of our different energies right now because I'm just so firm and going, yeah, and you're like, sailor, hold on, I don't know what this is.
We need to swab the poop deck before we can take off for the evening, sailor. The first thing we got to talk about is that we decided to watch the first 3 episodes of FUUTO.
Yes.
Coincidentally, the first 3 episodes I think are all that's out right now. Maybe it's the first 5 or something, but we're pretty early into the season.
Well, by the time we decided to do it, we just hit the 3rd episode. It's probably episode 5 or 6 by time of recording. Yeah,
we're still pretty early in the season, so we're still pretty new to it. So we watched the first 3 episodes, and we're gonna decide whether we're in or we're out. I have a feeling on where Rob stands, but
we'll talk about that when we get there.
Let's get into the nitty gritty of this, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, Kamen Rider W.
Yes.
Was in 2009.
Yes.
I remember you were extremely obsessed with it in 2009. You
Absolutely.
have some figures from it. It's the 2 sides of the same detective, right?
Yes. It is the first time in Kamen Rider history they did that, where it was 2 people occupying the same body.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 2 characters.
Right.
We have Shotaro Hidari, who occupies the left side.
Mm-hmm.
He's our hard-boiled, or is it half-boiled detective?
Hard-boiled.
That comes in a lot.
It really does.
And then on the right side, we have Philip.
Shotaro and Philip.
Philip is the more intellectual of the 2. He's going to actually do all the research. He has some amazing mental capabilities.
He's got that like hacker run the numbers kind of vibe to him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's always got a book in his cardigan. That's all he needs.
He's like there are many couples from over anime history and time that relate to these 2. I like to think of it as Jaden, Yuki, and Cyrus from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. As one of them.
The thing is, it's pretty funny because even with the live action series, people like to yaoi ship these 2 a lot. And they did that. They gave some hints of that here a little bit. The 2 of them embraced rather passionately, and they stared at each other's eyes.
Well, they are 2 men that do become one sometimes. So I mean, I wouldn't be mad to see. I'm not hating. I wouldn't be mad to see any fan fiction because that is feasible and possible.
It'd be in character for both. So I would love to see how episode 4 goes.
Fine with me.
Maybe Philip gets jealous. Anyway,
maybe.
So this is FUUTO.
Yes.
So I came to this with a big ball of energy, and I don't know how many. It's hard to say how many expectations I had because I was so happy to see this in an animated form.
Yeah. Well, we watched the trailer back in the summertime, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when that trailer finished, I thought we both were like, oh, this looks pretty cool, actually.
Well, they did a very smart thing in that trailer. They actually never showed you the rider's suit.
They did not.
In that trailer. They did that very deliberately.
They actually didn't show it for a few episodes. Like, at least not for the first episode. I don't remember seeing it.
They showed it very quickly in the opening of the first episode.
In the opener.
Yeah,
yes,
in the very first episode, very quickly.
Yes.
So you didn't see much of it. It took till episode 2 for actually them to do the full transformation.
Sure.
And... yeah, I may have lost
Did you like it? Was it cool?
I was actually very happy my girlfriend stepped out of the room for a minute because I was fist pumping and singing along to the theme song because they recycled the theme song from like the original series and they had it playing in the background.
Boy.
And I didn't know they were going to do that. So I was just going like, WX! And I was just pumping along. Once I heard the Cyclone Joker! I lost.
You did that perfectly, by the way.
Thank you.
That was so accurate. That was scarily accurate.
When you do something alone in your bedroom for 11 years, you get good at it. You can apply that to a lot of life.
You can, and a lot of things that you do in your bedroom as well.
Yeah, the years just make things better.
Somehow.
Experience. It's all about the experience.
Well, tell us about the fuutopi experience.
Here's the thing. Here's the funny thing for me. Of course, not only bias, but pure objectivity is lost.
Mm-hmm.
Because
sure.
I know these characters. They're essentially the same characters.
So, okay, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
So, is this story, or are these characters the same characters, and
Yes.
is this story the same story?
Sequel.
It's a sequel. So, did they have any like callbacks to anything that you remember particularly?
Oh no, the whole thing is basically where the show left off.
Oh, so so the live action left off in a certain spot, and
Yes.
this picked up in a certain spot.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Okay, that's fascinating. Because even like, sure, like I'm going into it kind of blind.
Yeah.
I never watched Kamen Rider W. I know of it.
Yeah.
I've seen figures at your place and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I know like of it. I know Joker.
Yep.
I know that.
Maximum Drive.
But I was watching it and I was like, okay, so I don't know anything else about that. Will I be able to understand what's going on?
Yeah.
And the answer was yes. 80% of the time. I feel like there was a 20% of the time where somebody like me coming in cold was like, okay, I get that he's a Kamen Rider. I get that he can do that, but like, where did the suit come from? How did they transform? Why are there two people that are the same person? The origins were left unexplained.
Well, the thing is,
for new viewers.
well, the origin
but
was.
if you know about it, I'm sure you probably know these answers.
Well, no, the origin was very heavily truncated in the first kind of like 30 seconds of the show.
Oh, really?
Because the
Man,
very
did I
first
miss it?
the very first episode
Jeez.
didn't have a theme song. It just had basically a recap of the origin story of Kamen Rider W.
Oh.
And it was all told visually. There was only one line. There was 2 lines of dialogue. The whole thing.
Okay.
There's a story of Boss, who is
Sure.
Shotaro's like senior as a private detective.
Mm.
He gets shot to death.
That's right. I remember that.
Yep, he puts the hat on Shotaro,
Right.
and then Shotaro is running away from the villainous people who are using all the villainous dollpots, the people who steal Gaia memories, inject them like the weird USB drives.
Yes.
They
Oh my
inject
God, that was so interesting. Yeah. Okay.
this whole gimmick. Remember the plot I was explaining earlier? I forget which show did it recently, where it's you bad guys are using this item. I'm the good guy who has this item, so I'm gonna use the item to beat
For
you.
good.
Yes.
Yes. Mhm.
It's the Devilman plot, the Yu-Gi-Oh plot.
Shaolin Showdown.
Yeah, it's a lot of
yeah.
Japanese or Japanese inspired pop culture.
Sure.
So this is the plot exactly where
Angels,
Yes.
Evangelion.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. We know.
it's all
Klaxosaur blood. You know.
Klaxosaur
we get,
But anyway,
we get it.
so that's.
Dr. Franks. I'll stop now. Continue.
I feel like there was another one we talked about really recently.
There was definitely, and I forget which one it was.
We're doing a lot of these episodes.
We'll go over it again sometime.
We'll review it at some point.
Some
But
point.
anyway, so it gets up very quickly that there's an army of dollpots running around, and with the main one, I forgot her name. She was like the giant sorceress throwing the fireballs everywhere.
Yes.
She's one of the main villains of W. But basically, Shotaro and Philip find the briefcase with kind of like these kind of like, I guess you could say, refined Gaia memories, so they didn't make you crazy, and they had the belt, the classic Kamen Rider and this
Right.
transformation belt.
Sure.
So they just threw in the Gaia memories and did the first transformation to W, and that's basically all the explanation you got. It's like, remember this, guys? That's what happened.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because
gotcha.
this was not only was this a TV series, there's also several films.
Yes.
So
Okay.
it was a TV show and a few movies.
There's a lot to catch up on if you've never seen anything.
Kinda.
Interesting.
But luckily, it was popular enough in Japan where it registered enough in the popular zeitgeist.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure it did over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yes. No
So
problem.
people were like, "Oh yeah, I remember this thing from several years ago. That's nice."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because occasionally one or two Kamen Rider series will do really well for no reason. W was one of those. Den-O was a huge example a couple years beforehand. So Kamen Rider will just go through weird flashes where it'll suddenly get very popular in the mainstream media again. The equivalent would be like if a Power Ranger season here in the States really took off again.
Just for some reason got really popular.
But now it all because of social media.
Yeah,
someone made a
right.
TikTok on it, and then
Exactly.
everyone will watch
and
it.
that's huge, right?
Was that weirdly cynical? Maybe. Anyway, so that
Continue.
was basically the reintroduction. Like, hey guys, remember this is how they got their powers.
Gotcha.
So basically, this is what I like to call kind of that afterbirth plot, where the main villain of a series, so to speak, is defeated because there was like the shadow organization controlling all these Gaia memories. In W, they were defeated, but there's still all these Gaia memories, like these, like, basically virtual
like
drones.
USB sticks.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of hanging out.
Yeah, demon's powers. So,
that gives you demon powers.
Yeah, so there's still a lot of them around.
Right, and there's a black market for them, kind of.
So there's a black market,
right?
yeah. So now it's like, so the main villain.
I picked up on that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's kind of like when you play a sandbox video game, you beat the game, but there's still shit to do in it.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
It's like this type of narrative fiction, the aftergrowth plot.
So it's kind of like the leftovers.
Exactly.
Of like this big event.
Exactly.
That occurred, right?
Yeah. So now what they did here is apparently in 2016 someone started writing a manga after W, just say like, here's what I think happens after they left off. Huh. And everyone said, yeah, sure, let's go on with this.
And I gotta say, to be honest, I don't really love live action like Kamen Rider / Power Rangers. I just don't like the look of it or anything. I didn't grow up with it, so that's probably why. But
possible.
I don't like love that stuff. But this was cool.
Yeah. I knew you were gonna say that.
I liked this though. The animated, I don't know why, it just translates so much better to me for a medium like this.
Right.
Because like live action, I'm sure it has its charm, and I'm not shitting on it or anything. Like a lot of people love it, and you're right to. But I feel like the animated form is just so much smoother. You can do way much cool shit. Like the villains don't look fucking stupid. There's just like all this great stuff in there. Like it's not costumes.
They're not made of
like,
rubber.
Right? Yeah. They're like actual like crazy looking badass villains.
Yeah, and really, because now I guess you could say it comes to the suspension of disbelief.
Right.
Where you don't really have to do that as much in an animated form because it's less connected to reality.
Exactly. So I think that's probably majorly what I appreciated about this show the most. That especially when they transformed into Kamen Rider W. I was like, all right, that looks fucking cool. Like, he looks so sick.
I know.
He's so cool. Like, I when they transformed, I was like, I'll buy a toy.
Yeah, I'll buy a toy.
I'll do it. I know this is what they made the show for, but I'll do it. I'll freaking buy the toy.
I'll go in.
Bandai, I'll call you up right now.
Yeah, the model kit's like $30 and they're so much fun.
Give it to me.
Build yourself.
I'll pay you $60.
Sweet. I've done that. I've done that in my day.
But yeah, I thought it was very interesting, and also the animation aside and everything, and me enjoying this as an animation aside, something I also picked up that was very cool was how it was done in terms of the style. The style was very cool art-wise, but also they had this thing where maybe I haven't seen it, or maybe it escapes my mind where I've seen it before. They had a lot of interesting like first-person shots.
They did have a few like POV shots in there.
It was very cool.
Yeah, that was just a random touch from the creators of this anime, I imagine, because that was just neat.
I loved it. I thought it was so cool. Like there was one point where like the guy that they're helping, their first client, is like running up the stairs to come through the door and ask them at their special investigator agency to help him with something. And he barges through the door and like he's running up the stairs, and the whole time you have a first person shot of him like running up the stairs.
So you have no idea what's going on. Yeah,
it's cool. It's great.
It was almost like a horror movie.
I really enjoyed it.
Touch,
Yes, it was really cool. They did a lot of really interesting things with camera angles in an animated world. Yeah, I was kind of blown away by that.
Really, the whole show on a technical level is kind of a marvel in a lot of cases. This is probably one of my favorite examples I've seen so far of well-placed CGI in an anime.
Very well placed.
Like all the CGI looked cool.
It did.
I was aware it was CG, but it was so stylized.
It worked well within the medium.
Yeah.
It worked very well with everything around it.
With the context of everything going on, it
didn't
made so much sense.
Exactly. Like you knew it was CG, but it didn't read as CG. Yeah. It didn't take you out of it. It didn't register as, oh, this is just something completely different right now.
Right.
It was the same. It worked out the whole time, I thought.
Of course.
Too. And the story was also pretty great, too, because when you get down to it, like it really is just a private investigator story, right?
Yes, and that's the whole thing that was a lot of the day-to-day plots. Because remember, the original Kamen Rider W was like 48 episodes. So there's a lot of episodic stuff in there when interweaved into the overarching narrative.
Right.
So there's a lot of day-to-day episodes of them just like getting clients and solving their cases.
Yes.
And really, this is just a continuation of W, so I'm just so used to the format. And then we have Akiko back, who is the bitchy. She's the daughter of the boss.
Oh.
She was the one with like the pink hoodie with the ponytail. She kept yelling at Chotaro to do things. Kept hitting him with
she's
shit.
like his boss. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because she's the daughter of
the guy that died, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so she's in charge. She's in charge of the Chotaro and Philip are like the private investigators.
Exactly. She owns the agency.
Yes. And they give you a nice introduction. And the first thing, which is nicely wrapped up in the first 3 episodes as well, might I add, is that they're kind of investigating this witch, parentheses, Tokima.
Yep.
Tokime.
Tokime,
And Tokime is running around the city stealing things from people and just kind of just being real shady around the city. Like it's not really confirmed like if she kills people or if she does these things, but she's just kind of running around the city taking things from people, being weird.
And she can float and fly.
Yeah.
So everyone's on guard.
Yeah, and their first client comes in and he says that Tokime, or whoever this witch person is, took his bag, like a bag of all of his money or something.
Yeah, and he said like the bag had like $30,000.
Yeah, like a lot of money, and
they're like weird amount of money to have in a bag, dude.
Right. They were like, that's weird, first of all, but also second of all, why wouldn't you just go to the cops?
Exactly.
If there wasn't something that you didn't want people to know about in that bag.
And then he just goes, I'm a huge simp and want to see Tokime again.
Yeah. That was his excuse.
Yep.
That was his excuse. I just have a hard on for that witch.
Yep.
So I just definitely want to see her again. Dude.
Yeah, I don't want her to get arrested. I want my bag back, and I want her to be okay.
And then it's funny because Shotaro had an encounter with her on a pier.
Yes.
And while the guy's telling them this story, Shotaro's like, yeah, I can see that. She's hot.
Yeah, she's hot. I could see him being bewitched.
That was really funny to me.
Oh, it was great to me.
He's so hard-boiled.
He's hard-boiled.
They also really harp on him being hard-boiled, and he hates when people call him half-boiled.
Or not baked.
Or not baked. Or half-baked.
Yeah, no.
It's very funny. I don't really understand it.
That was a long-running joke in the show itself.
It was.
Yeah, where they just ripped on him. It's like, because he's saying, I'm a hard-boiled detective. They're like, no, you're not. He's like, hey, fuck you.
What are you, an egg, sir? Hard-boiled.
It's an old PI term.
I thought it was very
being
funny.
A hard-boiled detective.
Hard-boiled detective.
So yeah, everyone was basically just calling him a bitch.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. So then Shotaro kind of takes this case upon himself at first.
Yeah.
Because he really wants to know more about this witch girl. Because he kind of in the back of his mind, it seems like at first that he thinks that she's not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
But he wants to get to the bottom of it.
He wants to figure out what's going on around her.
So he keeps like trying to meet up with her and chasing her. And every time he chases her, they end up in like a weird alternate dimension city.
Yes.
That's not FUUTO, the city that the current show is placed in. It's like dark FUUTO.
Yeah.
So it's like the city but flipped upside down, kind of like the negative space or like the upside down in Stranger Things or what have you.
Right.
Where it's like the same place but it just looks a little crazier and there's like, I don't know, shit being thrown at you and giant dragons breathing fire at you and stuff like that. Yeah. And so he follows her there all the time and he's like, where the fuck am I? And then he always gets phased out of that place and falls somewhere else in FUUTO. So it's very interesting. So he's trying to get on her trail and he can't really catch her ever because she can fly. She can do all this crazy shit.
She has all these powers. Yeah. So you never know what she's doing or what's going to happen.
Exactly. And he's just trying to chase after her and follow her. But the whole time that's happening, Philip is the whole time being like, hey, man, you need my help.
And it's like, and Philip,
I know you do.
At one point, Philip gets a little testy where he's like, Shotaro, you have a hard-on for the witch lady. Can you not do this, please? She might be killing people. We don't know what the hell is going on.
We don't know. So, and Shotaro is like, no, I swear, bro. Like, no, I'm good.
I'm chill.
I'm so chill now.
I'm only thinking with half my dick. I mean, none of my dick.
None of my dick at all. Bros.
No.
Bros, no hoes.
Bros before hoes. We'll do it before I do her.
Bitches before witches.
That's great.
But yeah, Shotaro was all steadfast about chasing after her still, and this client of theirs is so into just being like, oh, I need to see Tokime, and everybody's like, all right, bro, like we get that you like her, but it's
like
kind
this
of
is
weird.
getting
You're being weird
now.
And then eventually it is revealed that he wants to see Tokime and he wants the bag back because he actually has one of those devices, those USB sticks,
The guy memory.
In the bag that he bought from a black market dealer.
Yep, and he's been using it, and he's addicted to the power of it.
Yes.
So the entire time he's using this ultra simp guise as a red herring, which I loved.
Yeah.
So by in the third episode, we get that loose end tied up, where it's like, yeah, I'm just want my guy memory back. I'm not actually a simp. Well, he doesn't confess to it. They just catch him, and he's like, no!
I've never heard such a funny kind of... because they're all sitting in the same room, and Shotaro and Philip are like breaking it down to the guy about how they found out that he's lying and that he's not actually a big simp. And it was the first moment in my life where I've seen somebody so sad to not be a simp. Because everybody was just kept telling him, and this is how we learned that you're not a simp. He's like, no, but I am a simp. I swear.
I'm just a simp, guys.
I swear. That's all I want to be.
I have no horribly dangerous ulterior motives here.
And then we eventually find out that Tokime is not committing any murders.
No. She was stealing stuff.
She was stealing shit, but she's not anymore.
Yeah. Her memory is real fucked up.
Yeah. So she doesn't really know who she is or how she got where she is.
Yeah.
Or why she's around, but she's actually been kind of protecting people because there is some kind of like demon that is in the dark FUUTO city.
Yeah.
That is like it's killing people, tracking people down. I don't know what exactly it's killing people for. They explained all of it, but it just got really strangely something about a road between the two worlds.
Yeah, they explained that there's like somehow she came in contact with the guy in memory that connected the two worlds via like a dark portal.
Yes, that's right.
And they theorized that going through the portal kind of fucked their memory a little bit.
Right.
So it's a lot of speculation. So it was partially explained. It was half-boiled, if you will.
Half-boiled, yes.
And then at one point, Tokime just kisses Shotaro and it's like, well, this is let's see where the rest of the series goes.
Yeah, she kisses him, and immediately after that, she gets taken to jail because she's, been stealing things, which is also a crime.
Also a crime.
But then she gets out of jail because they figured that it's best with her skills to make her work for the private investigator.
Right, yep.
So she's working now with Shotaro and Philip, and she immediately comes into the office. She's like, Shotaro, can I stay in your bed? And Shotaro's like, no, no. And then she like starts getting naked in his bed, and he's like, no, please. And then she just is in his bed forever. And he's like, I guess I'll just sleep in a sleeping bag now outside in the office. And that's just kind of what happens. And they also, by the way, had that huge fucking fight or something with that like big, weird dragon sort of thing that looks like one of the legendaries from Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah.
And they had a big fight with that thing. And that thing was like shooting like rockets at them. And it turned out that it was in disguise as somebody that worked at a business nearby or something, or in like a crime ring. So
guy memories are a hell of a drug, man.
Weird, man. But they have that fight, and then they finally, Shotaro and Philip combined to transform into Kamen Rider W, which was sick.
Yes.
And they just beat the absolute fuck out of this thing. Like, there is not even like a fight to be had.
And I just love how during the couple episodes we had with W suit being used, they made ample use of the whole gimmick is they can change sides, like powers.
Yes.
Because they each have 3 powers, where Philip's very simple. It's heat, which is fire based attacks.
Right.
Then cyclone wind, and then Luna, which is weird stretchy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get that one.
It is weird. It's like kind of like Mr. Fantastic.
Yes, totally.
Rubber Band Man from Static Shock.
Arms. Yep, exactly. Yes. And then Philip has like things that'll alter the form of attack. Where he has the Joker form, which you can punch a lot of shit with. Metal, which is a giant staff, and Trigger, which is a big blue gun. And so
blue gun,
and they keep cycling through all like the different forms throughout the episodes to emphasize like, hey, they can change up their attacks because they're really cool like that.
Hell yeah.
Yep. And
that's how they were able to change their attacks like that. Because they kept flipping back and forth and changing colors, and I was like, what is going on? Because they were first attacking this man with like wind, and then they were burning him, and then they were beating him with a giant metal hammer. Yeah. And I was like, what is happening?
Just switching up all the different guy memories.
Yeah, I had no idea what any of the powers were. So the whole fight, I was like, how many powers do these guys have?
It's a great video game.
So God.
They have a great video game where I'm constantly switching powers in order to win.
I'm sure they do. It was pretty incredible, that fight scene. But yeah, I mean that was basically
there were a few incredible fight scenes.
There were. They did a good job throughout.
I will say I was pleasantly surprised how many more minutes of screen time were devoted to dialogue and the detective side of things.
Yes, and
because
that's what I like the most.
There's a lot about it in W as well, but of course it was a children's show, so you want to like play up the action,
flashy kind of
stuff.
But
this one they really interweave the intrigue of the plot and all the and what's it called, all the investigative side of stuff.
Yeah,
so it was just cool.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really well put together. It kind of reminded me a little bit of like a pseudo Batman.
Oh yeah,
kind of storyline where it's like investigative and stuff, but it's also
whenever there's an investigative superhero,
when you need a tango, you got a tango.
Yeah, totally. Whenever there's a superhero that mix that level of investigative spirit, obviously Batman is the first comparable hero.
Yeah. And that was FUUTO really. And now I think I know the answer from you, but what did you think? And are you in or are you out?
I mean,
yeah, you
I mean, I just love these characters. There's a few of them that haven't even been introduced yet.
Yeah, your motel, hotel, Holiday Inn.
We haven't even met Akiko's husband yet.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because I know who he is.
She referenced him a bunch of times. He works at the regular police, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I think he's a cop, and he's actually another rider.
Oh.
So we're gonna see my boy Axel show up and just wreck shit.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Axel.
So there's just a lot of cool intrigue to be had. And we're gonna see who like the kind of the new lead villains are for the show. It's gonna be exciting.
Pretty cool.
And honestly, it's just characters I love being cool in a new forum because all the characters here were written very close to how they were portrayed in W.
That's nice.
No one was out of character. Everyone was super in character. It wasn't the same voice cast, but it was just, if you love Kamen Rider W, you're gonna love this. So watch it. I'm watching it.
I really enjoyed how in the first 3 episodes we had questions, and those questions met their solve.
Yep.
Those questions got answered.
Yes.
And by the end of episode 3, I was like, what a nice arc.
Yes.
What a great arc.
Exactly.
We got 3 episodes of an investigative storyline.
Right.
Where we had a lot of things going on, some cool fights, but
right.
a lot of really cool questions that came up.
Yes.
And all those questions mostly got answered.
Yes.
And it was great.
Yep.
I really enjoyed it. I think I'm going to continue with it, honestly.
Let's do it.
Because it's very easy to watch. It's very fun to watch. There are some blind spots that I personally have just about like, okay, like what is anything?
Yes.
But at the same time, I think the investigative stuff is really easy to get into.
It's super easy to get your head around. Yeah.
And it's nice to have a show like this, which is kind of more methodical in how it kind of answers its questions.
Yes.
And also, Shotaro kind of reminds me a little bit of a Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop.
Ooh.
Similar character design.
Yeah.
Similar look too, and like always wearing the suit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it because I do like Cowboy Bebop is very kind of situational, where it's like, oh, like space, cowboys, and they go around. Like each episode is a different thing.
Yeah.
This show did kind of a different thing about that, which is they got me really invested, and they had different situations every episode, but they were all interconnected and interwoven.
Yes, yeah.
So that was really cool. I enjoyed it.
It's just a
FUUTO. Who knew?
Who knew it would be this well executed? I mean, the animation was so fucking pleasing to look at. The voice cast really did it in for me. And of course, like I said, they used a lot of the new music was heavily inspired by the old music of Kamen Rider W. Mm-hmm. That kind of like jazzy rock.
The music was pretty sick, too.
Yeah, that kind of experimental, almost jazzy
very
rock.
Jazzy, yeah.
That big band rock. It's great stuff. I really enjoyed it, and I'm gonna keep watching this because this is just too much fun.
FUUTO. Who knew? Did I?
Did you?
No.
Yeah, neither did I.
But now I do.
Now we know.
Now I do. And I got to give this piece a big Kamen Rider W, baby. That's a win. Double.
It's bad.
Wow, oh my god, what a rousing podcast of anime conversation. Am I right, my compares? Am I right, my weebdom? Anywho, you can send us a message if you want. Did you like this podcast? Did you hate this podcast? Do you want to kill me? Do you want to drench me in Calaxosaur blood and watch me drink it? That's fine. Just send us an email at badanimepod@gmail.com or DM us on our Instagram at badanimepod, all one word. You can also find us on YouTube as Bad Anime, and you could leave a comment on whatever video you want to leave a comment on. We'll read them all anyways. We don't care. I love you. Kiss, kiss.
Simple Equations Podcast Network.